Hey there! Welcome to Above the Noise with the Profitability Pathmaker. I'm Christy Wilson, your host, friend, and guide on this exciting journey we're about to embark on together. If you've got big dreams of scaling your business, innovating like a pro, and creating a personal brand that sticks, well, you're in exactly the right place. As someone who's navigated the highs and lows of business growth, I'm here to share not just my insights, but also wisdom from the forefront of entrepreneurship and innovation. From the essentials of starting small to the complexities of venture capital, tech advancements, and the art of personal branding, we're diving deep into what it really takes to stand out and succeed in today's fast-paced world. This podcast is for the bold and the ambitious, from startup founders to C-level executives looking to elevate their business. So join us as we explore actionable strategies, practical tips, and real-world success stories designed to inspire and empower you. So grab your favorite cup of coffee and let's cut through the noise together. It's time to make your business not just seen, but truly memorable. Are you ready to dive in? Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Above the Noise with Christy and Josh Wilson. And today we're actually going to be continuing a little bit on our discussions around sales. And we talked a lot last week about that ick feeling that I think a lot of people or a lot of business owners really get when they jump on discovery calls or when they start to think about sales processes. And it really doesn't have to be that way. And we talked about some of the things to shift our way of thinking or our perspectives and look at it more as serving someone, the solution they're looking for, offering an opportunity for them, and then again, really attracting the right people so that you're offering them something that either solves a problem they have that they don't want or gives them a desired result that they don't have. So today we're actually going to jump into my discovery call script that I use myself. It is a great way to connect with someone through conversation without it feeling that ick, salesy feel. It should never feel that way. It should be a conversation. It should be pretty natural. I hear from a lot of business owners that they just dread it because it feels awkward and weird and uncomfortable and they don't know where to go, and then they feel really uncomfortable around discussing the money piece or the investment piece on the call. They feel like they're not really sure what they should be asking. So we're going to walk through our script, and I know that it contradicts...
Not our script.
My script.
I'm not that organized.
My script. And when I say script, I do want to clarify in that I don't sit and read a script during a discovery call. Okay? When I do a discovery call, I customize it for the individual that's in that call. I really use more of a call flow. So I'm going to share my call flow with you today, and you can fill it in and take notes as you see fit. And of course, we want you to customize it to be you. It should sound like your authentic voice. It shouldn't sound like Christy when you get on a call.
No one does.
No one can do Christy Wilson like Christy does. But no, really, it shouldn't sound like Christy. It should sound like you. And so today we're going to talk about how to walk through that discovery call flow and have it lead from a conversation into a conversion, right? Ultimately, that's what we're looking for if it's a good fit with the individual on the call. And we'll start with that. So, all right. I'm going to jump back in. The first thing that I'm going to start off with is that discovery calls are not about selling. And you're going to say, well, that's crazy, Christy, because this is a sales process, right? That's why you get on the call.
Yeah, but a discovery call is a step in the sales process. It's probably one of the most important first steps. Not first, but early on steps.
Right.
But if you make the discovery about the sale, you're going to lose people.
Yeah, so don't focus on selling. You don't want to go into the call with this mindset of coming in to sell this service. I want you to let that sink in, because that's one of the most important pieces to going in and not having that ick sales, awkward, weird, bad feel, right? So you're going in to literally discover. That's why it's called a discovery call. You're going to discover what it is they're aiming for, what is their dream, their vision, what are the goals necessary to get them there, and is it a mutual fit? Is it a good fit on both sides?
Because if your marketing magnet has attracted the correct people that you're now on this discovery call with, it's going to lead to a sale because you're going there. But if you get on this discovery call and you're ramming that sale, either your marketing magnet wasn't good in the first place, or you're just not taking the time to learn and just jamming it down their throat.
I love that you take the exact things I teach, the words out of my mouth. No, Josh is totally right. If your marketing is off, you're not going to be attracting the right people. So when you get on those calls, you're not going to close very many of them.
If you get on the discovery call and the person has no interest in what you're selling, you've done something wrong already. And so, anyway, I'm repeating myself.
Right. No, they should be coming onto this call wanting what you have, and that's their transformation or their outcome or their end result, right? That is what they want. They want the transformation, they want the outcome, they want the end result. And so really that first step is going to be shifting your perspective and how you look at that discovery call, what your goal is going into it, what your intentions are. And it really should be an effort to identify if you're a good fit for each other, right? And it goes both ways. Sometimes we get on the phone and it's somebody that we really just can't help, right? Or our services aren't a good fit for them for whatever reason. And then it's it's walking them through their own objections, identifying what their ultimate vision or dream is, and go mapping out the steps for them, and then really guiding them to make the decision, to take the action, to take the opportunity, take the solution. So that's really what it is. It's not really about selling. So let's jump in to the very first thing. What do you do when you get on the phone call? You're going to hear a lot of people say, oh, we sit there and we talk about the weather and we talk about whatever. I don't. And the reason I don't do that is because time is extremely valuable, our time and their time. And we want to be respectful of time. So I go into the call very intentional and really focused on identifying the outcome from the beginning. Right? I set the stage right there. And that doesn't mean that you rudely come in and just start firing off questions.
You almost always start off giving a little bit of a background. You want to chat a little bit, but not for, 15 minutes.
Right. So you don't have to start with, honestly, I'm going to put this out here and this sounds terrible, but they don't care. Nobody can. Well, I'm from Atlanta and I've done this and here's what I've done and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the books unless the book impacts them, right? So if it does not lead to their outcome,
then fix a problem.
That's right. Right, exactly. So I like to start out with an intentional line with, it might look something like this, and you have to put your own spin on it. Hi, I'm so excited that you were able to connect with me today. And so tell me, what inspired you to reach out? And that's great because
that's good. People can tell when you're just going through the motions and you sound like some sort of a scripted robot. You have to, they want to talk to a person. They want to get fed a sales pitch.
Exactly. And like I said, it really sets the stage. What it does is it opens up the conversation too. It opens it into those open-ended questions like, what inspired you to jump on this call today? Or what inspired you to reach out? Or what brought you to the call today? And a lot of times right then and there, they're going to go in and start discussing either a problem that they have they want to get rid of, or an outcome they don't have that they'd like to get to. And so you're going to start to learn that piece right off the bat. And that's really telling. You'll be able to then, number one, get a good feel for initially, can I help this person? Right? Can my services solve the problem or provide the transformation they're looking for, the result, and or no? And then also it's going to allow you to probably get a little bit of detail about who they are and their business or their situation, right? So I like to start out with that. And then from there, once we've opened it up, and again, I'm not saying rush right in, but again, they're excited they're here. That's really enough of an opening. We don't need to exchange 75 years of pleasantries. Now, I would say you want to read the person. Pardon. So you want to read the person. If it's somebody who's asking you and they want that conversation, then you may need to go ahead and do that, or you may want to do that, right? To make that connection, because you do want to connect. You do want that trust there. But again, the majority of people, I'm a multi-business owner. My time I'm really short on time. And the time I do have, because time is our most valuable resource, you can't get it back.
If I'm getting on the phone with you, get to the point, because I'm not going to be here very long if you don't connect with me something.
Right. I don't want to hear a biography for 7 minutes. I really just want to tell you why I'm here and see if it's a match, right? Is your solution a match for my problem? That's really all I want to know. So once you've done that, this is going to be their time to talk. So a lot of people think that as a great salesperson, you have to have the smooth talking 24/7, fill up the dead air and do all the talking. You really should be listening 80% of the time and talking about 20% of the time during that sales call.
Yep.
I mean, the goal is to get them talking. You're
asking questions and causing the elicitation of information, but if you're the one giving the information, other than answering questions and explaining things, you need to be listening a whole lot more.
Right. So this is about them. And remember that going into the call. This is about them. What can I do for them? What do they want ultimately? Can I deliver that? So again, in this step, you're transitioning from listening to what they told you as their reasoning for getting on the call, which they probably went into a little bit of detail. And if not, you can always ask more questions. That's an important piece of the discovery call. It shouldn't be an interrogation, but those open-ended questions are great to keep the information flowing so you can assess what's going on. So this is just the next natural step, if you will, right? You might say something like, okay, so tell me what challenges you're facing if they haven't told you already. Or, so tell me a little bit about what you've done that hasn't worked, or some things that maybe, have failed in the past when you've tried to do this, or maybe they haven't tried to do it at all. It might be a startup, right? And so you're learning that. So, have you tried anything as of yet around XYZ? Just ask those probing questions, whatever it is that makes sense, that relates to gathering the information you need in order to provide them with that solution, right? A big mistake, and I got on a call with a potential vendor the other day, and I get on, and first of all, it was the 7-minute biography. And so I'm sitting there, and it's not that I don't care about this person's biography. It was fantastic, and I loved it, but it's like, I've got 4 kids. I only dedicate a couple hours to work a few days a week, and you're like eating up one of these hours that I could really be focusing on doing something else that's going to move the needle, like we always talk about. So first of all, it was the biography. The second big thing, when they did jump in, they did ask me a little bit to tell me a little bit about the business, and they were doing a little bit of probing. But then before we even went into if I've tried something before, what has worked, what hasn't worked, what am I frustrated with, what the whys behind it, they were like jumping in with a solution, trying to sell. And it ended up that had they asked those questions, they would have realized 10 minutes earlier that what they were offering me wasn't even the right package. I had already tried that. I could have told them that we've done that. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a B over here. They did offer that, but they wasted all that time, and now they don't look like the expert. They do not look like my guide. And when I get on the phone, I am looking to this person as my expert guide. They know how to map out the path I need to take or the steps I need to take to achieve whatever outcome I'm looking to achieve.
It's difficult to do that if you don't know what they're trying to do.
That's right. So, again, don't just jump in. Unless you only offer one particular thing, you don't want to jump in with just the solution you have in mind because you think. Instead, listen to actually understand.
Really, and even if you only offer one thing, you want this person to tell you. So look at it this way. If they tell you what's wrong and what's broken and what they need help with, and then your response is, well, this is what we do to fix that, you've provided them a solution.
That's right. And the more they share, the better chance of you understanding the pain points, of you understanding their ultimate dreams and their vision. And then you can genuinely offer that help. Like Josh said, you start building that trust and you position yourself as the expert guide in this process, right? So from there, now you're going to start digging into their why. And I know you're saying, well, what does it matter? Well, it matters because the why is what motivates them ultimately to be able to take the actions to achieve the goal, right? Your why is so important. Your why in business, your why in really everything you do, your motivation for doing it is important. You want to get to the center of that motivation. So I might ask something like, so tell me a little bit about why solving this is so important for you right now. And that, now, if they've already told you that, again, this is not a script you follow and just ask the questions and check the boxes. Customize it based on the responses you're receiving.
If you go into this conversation with the goal of listening and understanding what they want, you can throw half the script out the window because it'll kind of naturally flow through there. But if you aren't getting there, you can kind of follow the general idea and it'll flow into it.
This is great to avoid the awkward, I don't know where to go from here, and it kind of keeps you on track. If you follow this flow, not this exact script, the words I say, but like Josh said, listening to understand is so much different than listening to hear something. Listening to understand so that you can see things through their eyes. Now, if you're in their head, you're going to be able to provide them with the exact thing they want. And that's really what it is. So again, another question you could ask if they've already told you why this is important right now, or it's something that's intuitive and you don't need to ask that, what would it mean for you to overcome this challenge? Or what would it mean for you to get to XYZ? That's a good way to dig out the why. You're going to hear, okay, you might uncover some other things you didn't know, like, for example, I had someone, their why was that they were ultimately looking to sell the business. And so had I not known that, I wouldn't have been able to position what I could do to help the right way. I would have thought we were helping scale for him, for his longevity in the company. So you really want to try to understand the why, the motivation. That's also going to help you to be able to position it best to fit that dream. And because of the why, when you go to position it or when you go to offer it. And so again, once you understand what they're seeking, why they're seeking it, then it becomes more about, it becomes more than just solving a basic surface issue or surface problem, right? You actually understand, and it shifts the entire conversation. You're no longer just a service provider. You're someone who can actually help them to achieve what's going to matter.
You may need to find a breaking point because your plan to get this all in one episode is not
No. My script is not that long because my discovery calls typically do not go over 30 minutes and sometimes they're less. So next step, right? Once you've heard the goal or the vision, the dream, you've heard the why, this is time to say it back, reflect it back. Make sure that you've understood them and that they know you've understood them. Now, this should not sound like a robot that is just repeating back. You'll hear those calls where they're like,
so if I understand you correctly, are...
Exactly. That's not what you want. But something more natural like, oh, all right, Josh, so it sounds like you really want dream, ultimate goal, so that you can insert the why here. Does that sound right? Or something like that, and make it sound a little more natural. Or did I get that right? Make sure you
really were listening, because if you weren't, you're not going to be able to do this.
Then you can correct and make sure you are offering something that makes sense and that you still, again, look like that expert guide. Because you should be. If you're not the expert guide, then you really should be on the phone with them offering this if you can't help them.
If you've truly listened to them, at this point, you're going to establish a real good connection, because they're going to be like, yes, that is exactly what I'm trying to do here. Because chances are good they didn't come in and say, man, what I really want is to have some free time back to go home early on Fridays.
Oh, so they don't always know what they want. They come in and they have no idea what they want. And especially when it comes to IT or marketing or whatever, they come in and they're like, I want this to work. We don't know what we need. That's often, we got on the phone the other day and we went around for 15 minutes before we really were able to get down and drill down to what are you looking to achieve ultimately? Let me make sure I can get you there, and then we'll back into mapping it out for you. So, they don't always know what they want. And so it's your job to understand the dream, the vision, the goal, and then be able to map out how you're going to get there, and be able to convey that value to them. So, and by the way, again, it's not about just repeating back here. You want it to sound natural. And so it may not sound natural to say, does that sound right? You might say, did I get everything in, or did I miss anything? I'll do that. That's what I did with the gentleman the other day. We jumped on an IT call. Josh had to step away. I listened to him. So I did a little mini recap when Josh jumped on.
I don't know that losing my cell phone signal counts as stepping away.
I jumped in, gave a little summary, and the person we were speaking with said, Christy pretty much summarized exactly what I'm looking to achieve and where, because that, once you do it several times, that's going to come naturally based on what you've learned, right? And one other tip I'm going to put in here that's really important, Christy's secret. It's not really, it's just a no. Many people don't know it though, is that a lot of reasons why people end up with objections at the end and it doesn't naturally flow into just onboarding this individual is because you haven't conveyed to them, number one, the value. So they don't understand the return on investment. They don't understand that by doing this, I'm actually going to achieve this, so I'm going to get more than what I gave, right?
Christy's favorite thing when somebody asks for the price of something is to give them two prices. The price of doing it and the price of not doing it.
Well, which price would you like? No, but I only say that when it's somebody sarcastic like Josh, or I've been able to read them. I don't say that. Another thing I'll say is, I'll get to that point when we transition into the cost, because that is an awkward thing for people. I think a lot of us were raised with this mindset of you don't talk about money, right? With people or with others. And so I think that there's a lot of shying away from that discussion. So
it's still my least favorite part.
So here's what it is. Once you get there, so you've said, okay, so it sounds like you really want, again, vision, so that you can insert why. Did I miss anything? Or does that sound right to you? Or am I on the right track? And let them answer, right? So from there, this is where it gets fun. Now you're going to present the opportunity, but you're going to hear a lot of experts say, okay, this is where you assume the sale and you just go in and close it up and just assume the sale. So get in there and just let them know we'll get started on XYZ. I do not take that approach because I'll be honest, as a business owner myself, I'm annoyed when I hear that. Like it rubs me the wrong way when someone's like, all right, so we'll get started on Thursday then. So unless I said, I'm excited, let's go, I don't want somebody saying we're going to get started here or this is what we're doing. So if we'll just take this card and we'll get going. And it's like, Oh, I haven't even time to process it.
The last time someone told me that, okay, we'll get started on Thursday, I said, that's great. Who are you starting with?
Right? So this is the part that gets tricky because it should feel like a pitch. This should not feel like a sales pitch. It should feel like the next natural step. Like Josh said, if you've connected, you've listened to understand, you truly understand where they want to go, why they want to go there. Now your offer is their next natural step. It just flows really nicely into it. You can say something like, okay, so based on everything we've talked about, I'm confident that I can help you get to insert dream or goal or whatever it is, right?
And the point is to tie it back to the value, which at this point you should have already shown them. And even though I said this is my least favorite part of it, if you've shown them the value and if you've listened to them as to what they want, you're now giving them the solution. And chances are that they want this. They came to this call looking for something, hopefully your solution here. And if you're priced astronomically, I can't help you with that, but.
So again, you're listening. So what you say here that you're confident you can help with, insert vision, dream, whatever it is, that should be the value. I mean, that should be like, yes, this is what I want, right? And so then from there, what I do is I typically map out high level how we're going to do that. Right. So I first tell them I'm confident I can help you. As long as I'm confident I can help them. If I'm not, then I, of course, let them know this doesn't sound like a great fit or this may not be the right timing to help with this. But if they feel like a good fit, I know that I can help them. I know I can provide the solution, the transformation, the result. Then I'll go through and explain how I can help them. I'll map it out for them. And whatever that looks like, it might be, so for example, if I'm doing business coaching, dependent upon the thing, the person, the business, it might be, absolutely based on what we talked about, I am confident that I can help you increase your revenue by 3 times over the next 6 months. And this is what that looks like. And then I'll go through and say, this looks like, 3 months of us working together closely, probably weekly, in order to map out the strategy. And here's what month 1 looks like, right? We're going to achieve this in month 1. And maybe that's getting their marketing set up, their ads, getting everything, their messaging right. And then as we transition into month 2, we're going to be working on. And then you give them, again, just a high-level overview of the items you're really going to achieve there. And then by 90 days, we should see a 2 times return on that investment of what you put in. And, you can go from there. So, again, it's not going to feel like selling.
Because you're not.
Because it's not. That's right. You're simply offering that solution to the problem that they've already shared with you. And you're confident you can help them achieve whatever that dream is. And you're just letting them know that. So it's a natural flow. There's nothing awkward about it. So the next piece is really going to be empowering them to decide. People do not like, and this is why I don't like assumptive closes. The majority of people, I should say, do not like when control is removed from them. They do not like not being the one to make the decision for the most part when it comes to things like this, when it comes to sales. They want to feel that they've come to this. It was their decision, their choice, their idea. And so all you're doing is empowering them to make that decision, right?
Yeah,
so
they actually already have the power to make the decision. You're just not assuming.
Well, so you've mapped it out, right? You've gone through, you've mapped it out. So this is going to be kind of that price place. This is that awkward price place that everybody's like, oh no, but it really shouldn't feel awkward because you ask them, so are you ready to discuss the investment or would you like to hear the dollars and cents or would you like to hear the investment? Yeah, my next book coming out next month is called Dollars and Cents Abilities. So dollars and cents. But I really do say that. Would you like to talk dollars and cents? Or a big one for me is always, would you like to move into discussing the investment? And they're almost always going to say yes. So unless you've not displayed any value and you're not confident you can help them, or they don't trust that you can help them and you haven't conveyed that well, 99% of people are going to say yes. They want to hear what is my investment in this? And that's where you'll walk through exactly what it is, just very simply. Okay, so it looks like it's $2,500 for the next 90 days. And here again, and you recap that little map out of what they're getting in there and the end result, right? So you are leading with that result. For this investment, this is what you're getting out. And it better be more than they're investing, right? So you don't want to go in and say, oh, it's $10,000 for a month of this. And, by the end of that month, we'll get you $1,000. Or we don't have any guarantees. We don't know. We'll get something. We'll grow. I hear that a lot. We'll get you growth. Well, how much growth? Well, is it going to be the $3,000 I invest or whatever it is? So you want to make sure that is clear, that this is going to be their estimated return on investment. Make sure it's something that you actually can deliver, or the result, the solution might be And
if you don't have the data for those numbers, you need to get some of that data, because people seriously don't want to hire someone. I'm going to make the company grow. Really? Have you done that before? Yes. How much? Well, either you have some numbers or you don't know what you're talking about.
So when I go into a business and we're on a discovery call, and say we're talking business coaching, I will actually plug in their specific numbers with them. That's part of our discovery that we'll go through. And I will say, okay, based on what you've told me and industry averages and what we've done before, we expect to get you at least $100,000 over the next 12 months of additional profit without increasing ad spend, but by doing this. And your investment is, $1,000 a month, so that's $12,000 a year. So of course, the numbers make sense. You're going to spend $12,000 to get $100,000 back in the year. Or at the end of 90 days, here's what you're going to walk away with. Because sometimes it's not a dollar amount. It could be something intangible when I'm working with someone on, I want to improve my public speaking skills, or I want to, look for this promotion. It might not be a specific dollar amount, but there's some type of tangible outcome. And that's what you want to make sure that you're delivering, and letting them know you're delivering with the map out of how that works. You can also integrate your price discussion or your investment discussion back when you're mapping it out for them. It's really simple to do it very naturally. So for business coaching, I will sometimes say, okay, would you like to see what that looks like when we're, talk about working together? Because I'm confident, remember, that I can achieve this, that allows you to do this. So would you like to discuss what that looks like? And they're going to say yes. So then you say, okay, so I'm looking at this being an initial 3-month commitment, 90 days. Here's what we're going to do. And then at the end, once you've gone through month 1, 2, and 3, then you can insert in there, and the investment for that is $2,000. And then there it is. It's natural. You didn't have to get weird about the price where they're asking what's the cost, what you're not negotiating. There's no convincing. This is what you get, and this is the investment. You can also offer your monthly payment plan if you have that. We break it down. So I might say, okay, it's it's $800 per month, or whatever it might be, dependent upon what it is. And so you just let them know it's either X or X per month if you want to break it into 3 monthly payments. Something really simple like that. And then that's when you go into that empowering. So are you ready to, again, insert that outcome? Are you ready to gain that $100,000 this year? Are you ready to, get 10 more patients in the door over the next 60 days? Are you ready to whatever it is that you're going to do? And if you have a guarantee, even better. Like, I'll offer a guarantee that, look, this is the outcome, and you're going to pay me less than you get over those 90 days, or I will pay you back the money you gave me. So if you can offer a guarantee around it, even better, because people really like to feel like there's minimal risk. It's their time, but it's minimal risk. And I know a lot of people I was asked the other day, well, with IT, there's not always an exact dollar amount you're gaining. So how do you position that? Well, with a service like that, for our IT company, there are dollars and cents around it. So, for example, if you have somebody like a law firm, let's use law firm as the example. They are paying some people in there $50 per hour because we asked during the discovery session. This is why you ask those questions. About what are you paying per hour for this and this? So we're going through the numbers. Okay, they're paying $50 an hour for this person, $25 an hour for this person, $19 an hour for this desk, and here's what they're doing. And if that one computer's not working or it's slowing them down and they only got 50% of that work done, how many hours times that $50 did you lose that day? 3 hours? Well, there's your cost plus this, plus that. And you can actually tally it up and say, this is what was lost. Or if you know you could fix something that they're doing that's inefficient. This is the hourly rate, or this is the salary rate. So this breaks down to this many hours. And we're going to take 10 hours off your plate at X amount, of this hourly rate for your people that can get back. Or this is how many more sales you're going to get that's going to generate on average this by implementing this technological solution. So there's different ways you can do it. Just even if it's not like my coaching where you can guarantee money back guarantee.
We have a plumbing company we work with, and I think it was 77 people who spent 8 minutes every morning to get their timesheets and their clocks and all their stuff punched in. And for $49 a month, I think we turned it into a 30-second process. Mm-hmm. So that's what, almost a week of man hours they just gained back every day.
Yeah, huge. And people don't know that. And that's another one of those that they don't even know they want it. They know that they want to make things work and save money or make more money, but you have to kind of show them and map out how you're doing that, right? If you don't explain it, sometimes people don't even know what they want. They wouldn't have known that that's the solution. They didn't call Josh up and say, hey, we're looking to save about 6.5 minutes times 77 employees every time they come in each day. Like, it's not going to happen, right? But as Josh is going in and discovering in these discovery calls, in these conversations naturally, he's like, what do you mean we're doing this? Well, gosh, I think we could probably chop down X amount of hours per week. What does that equate to for you? Oh, about X amount in dollars? Wow, that's a big savings. Are you ready to go ahead and save whatever? Or, would you like to implement this for X? Or, would you like to hear the investment on that? You're going to invest $49 a month to save thousands of dollars or whatever it is. So you can kind of put it in naturally, and it's not a sales pitch. It doesn't feel salesy. It feels like the natural next step. You're having a conversation. You identified a problem. You identified something that can save people money. So now you're going to put that solution in front of them. It's an opportunity you're offering. Here's the investment. Here's what you get out of it. Here's the outcome. And, are you ready to XYZ? That's how you empower someone. And then you also want to give them time in there. I should say I'm going to back up for a moment because I forgot something important that I want to mention. I'm thinking back to a call I was on this past week. So once you've mapped out, remember we're going back to the point where you're confident you can help with, which will allow this, and you're going to confirm right there. And then you're going to say, would you like to discuss what that looks like? Or would you like to see what that looks like? And you're going to map out, right? And that's where you can slide that investment in. And that investment is $2,000 for the 90 days. And that also, includes all of that we talked about, and that gets you to this outcome. Well, the other thing you want to do there is a lot of salespeople, this I know because I was just on a call, at the same call, by the way, that I was talking about earlier, they want to talk immediately. So if there's a pause, they assume it's an objective hesitation, and they're like, bam, we're going in because of XYZ, we're doing, if we don't do this today, this is limited and this price is going to go away. It's like, oh my gosh, actually, we're just taking a second to process. And I was writing some notes, and then I had a calculator out because, I'm looking at ROIs and what that cost. And the guy's like in my face, and I'm like, oh, hold, wait. So I want you to, I'm going to advise you to, I'm going to advise you to give them a moment and fight the urge to just start rambling. It does two things. Number one, it does what I just said, where you're like, oh my gosh, overwhelmed. Like, what in the world? I'm just processing. You have to let them process, let it sink in, let them think about it and make that decision. Now, you don't need to let them go for 5 minutes on silent, but you don't have to jump in. You don't have to speak every second of that call. It should be, again, 80% them speaking, 20% you. So anyhow, back to that. The second thing that it does when you just rush it and you're rambling, when people ramble, they have a tendency to just spew out things.
Say stupid things.
Well, not even that. It makes you sound unconfident. I actually, not to, put that shameless plug in there, but my book that came out this past month, Cash In on Charisma, one of the things we talk about in there is the fact that when you ramble, you appear very unconfident, right? So you come in and they're thinking, what's going on? Or you lose control of that calm, of that comfortable, natural feeling where everyone's feeling relaxed, comfortable, it's natural. You now seem like you're not confident, you're not comfortable, you're uncomfortable, you're, just going on and on and on, right? So less is more in that case. I want you to try to remember, fight the urge, pause, let them process. And if it goes on for, say, more than a reasonable amount of time. I mean, if they're sitting there for 20 or 30 seconds, there's no response, then I would say,
consider the possibility that their Zoom has frozen.
That's true too. But you could say something like, I'd love to hear your thoughts, or, would you like to talk through what you're thinking, or, something like that, where it's like you can guide them to then talk through what they're thinking. And the next episode we do is actually going to be on most common objections. So we'll pick up on this when you hear that pause, when to come in, when to pause. And then I'm going to go through the top 3 common objections we get. And again, most of them can be avoided if you're following the flow properly and it's naturally flowing and you're showing the value throughout. A lot of them are eliminated. But if they do come up with an objection, then we're going to talk through ways to handle it so that it's not awkward and salesy, so it's not pushy, so that you're never sitting there convincing someone, right? You're addressing it in a natural manner that flows, that isn't going to make you feel anxious, and it's not going to make them feel anxious or pressured. Because when people feel anxious or pressured, guess what? They don't buy. When people feel confused, they don't buy. When people feel like the value isn't worth as much as what they're investing, they don't buy. So those are really important things to remember. Okay, so I've gone way over as usual.
I feel like I said we should split this.
The objections we will. But what I do want to do is when this goes live, if you go to my YouTube channel, The Profitability Pathmaker, you'll find this episode there. And if you go down to the description, there will be a link to a free copy of this sales discovery call flow. Again, you need to make it your own. It does have explanations in it. It actually goes through a couple of it doesn't hit the objections as hard, but it does talk about how to respond so that you don't feel like you're stumbling awkward and don't know what to say, and it's natural.
If you watch the next episode, chances are good she'll give you her list of common objections.
I will. That's exactly what the episode will be on. But I'm going to drop this, and all you have to do is just click it and request a copy. It'll get sent right over, and it's free. So if you want a copy of a really easy, natural, non-salesy, non-awkward discovery call flow that will help you to feel more confident going into those discovery calls, it will help you and empower you to be able to guide those calls more effectively. It's transitioning from standard conventional methods that they teach you in sales. Converting from that to this has increased conversions for us by 3 times. And on top of that, you're not going to dread those calls anymore. So I hope this helped. I hope the free resource helps. Definitely download it. And I will see you next time when we discuss how to handle common objections.
Wait, you need The book.
Yes, you can get my book as well.
The book.
Yes, you could go to the website. You could go to any of my social media channels, and there is a link to grab the book. And actually, it is, I think, Kindle. If you have Kindle Unlimited, is free right now. There's a promo. So. And that wraps up another empowering episode of Above the Noise with the Profitability Pathmaker. I'm Christy Wilson, and it's been an absolute pleasure to share this time with you. I hope today's journey has armed you with valuable insights and strategies to propel your business and personal brand to the next level. Remember, every setback is just a setup for a comeback. So keep pushing, keep dreaming, and never be afraid to be a little loud about your goals. We've got a whole world to impress, and I can't wait to see where your journey takes you next. Until next time, keep making waves and rising above the noise. Cheers to your success, and I'll see you on the next episode.